Good morning, everybody. It's Tracy, and welcome to another episode of What Has Changed Your Life. Today, we are going to talk about PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. It's a huge topic and a topic that is, near and dear to myself and to a lot of the healthcare professionals in Canada and the US, well, all over the world, really, with what we're dealing with this pandemic on a daily basis. So I felt it was really important to talk about what it is and solutions on how we can go past and move through this. My special guest today is Jillian Brown. She is a PTSD survivor, thriver, however, I'm not sure what she likes to use, but we'll find out in a second. But I like to use thriver. And she is the CEO of Camp My Way. She's also a professional photographer, and she is an adventurer. So everybody give a warm welcome to Jillian Brown. Thank you, Jillian, for being here today.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're very
Always
welcome.
excited.
Beautiful Sunday morning. Jillian is actually in BC, so it's kind of early for her in the morning right now.
It's a little bit, but our Sunday mornings, we start off with our board meeting. So we've been up since 5 a.m., which is pretty regular for us around here.
Nice. So Tell me, you have PTSD. You were diagnosed with PTSD. Tell me how you got there.
So I guess maybe I'll go back a little bit. In 2010, I moved from the prairies, Manitoba and northwestern Ontario, out to British Columbia, the mountains, to kind of find inspiration and be somewhere that was more in line with what I was doing, photography and the outdoors. I got a job at a dog sledding company as a photographer. Fell in love with the sport as well as one of the mushers, and we started a relationship. That relationship lasted 5.5 years, and we created a dog sled company together, successful businesses, photography-wise too, a home, dreams, all of that lifestyle. Ultimately, the relationship was abusive pretty much from the get-go. And after 5.5 years, I was finally able to find the strength and courage to leave. But I had to leave everything behind, and ended up homeless in a tent for 7 months in the woods. And as much as people called me homeless, it was really the best home I could have had, to find healing and the answers and the connection I needed. And it was there that after about a month of being in the tent and the phone calls stopped and the adrenaline subsided and the fear, kind of every emotion imploded and exploded from me. And I took my dog for a walk, the one dog that I had taken with me, and got to along the river and thought about putting the dog's leash around my neck and jumping in and being washed away. And I'd still to this day, and like most people would ever say, I was suicidal by any means, but to have that thought come out of nowhere like that when you're ultimately somewhere where you are safe and should be happy was very confusing and even more terrifying. So I immediately took my dog back to the tent, tethered her, and headed to a counselor to find out what was going on. Had an appointment and walked in and shared what I was going through. And basically all I was told was PTSD. You should come back next week. Know what PTSD stood for, know what is PTSD, no answers, no tools, nothing. And was sent back to my tent. Completely confused, only knowing the relationship of PTSD to the military and war, like most people.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I grabbed my dog and just let her off her leash, and we just started following her the rest of the day. And totally terrified, trying to just overthinking everything at that point. Then I started to just follow her and be crawling even through bushes, got back to my tent that night, and I actually slept. For the first time in years, I slept. Got up the next morning and did the same thing. Just immediately let my dog off the leash and just followed her everywhere all day till I was tired, sore, got back to the tent. Again, I slept that night. It's like, well, I'm not getting any answers as to what this is, but something is happening here and working.
Something's changing. Yep.
Yeah. And I related back to when I was younger and had had issues as a young athlete with injuries and when I would get depressed. And it was always when I couldn't move that energy, when I couldn't, when I wasn't being active, when I wasn't getting fresh air that I needed.
Yeah.
Or more depressed. And I related that back to what was I missing right now? Well, I'm needing that fitness, needing to move that energy.
Yes.
And ultimately, that's
I'm just gonna talk a little bit. I'm just gonna unpack a little bit about what you said, and then we'll go back to the exercise point. What gave you the courage to leave that abusive relationship? Because so often, especially with women, we hear, I just can't leave. I just don't, you know what I mean? Where did that come from? Where did that to say, you know what, I've had enough. I've done this for 5, I need to leave. Like, where did that come from?
I'd say there's a lot. I mean, it takes a lot of courage to stay. I mean, you have that fear for one. You're fearful for yourself, but you're usually a lot more fearful of what the person will do to themselves. Because to you, you're there because you love that person and you don't want harm to come to that person too. And a lot of what happens to you, they're doing to themselves too. And you see that pain and you don't want them to be in that either. So that was a big part of why I had stayed for so long, was that fear of what's going to happen to this person that I do love.
Yeah.
Or I felt like I loved. And so when I had these dogs, so we rescued 16 sled dogs from all over Canada. And as much, again, like the homo statement, much as I rescued them, they truly saved my life in that time. Every day I was going down and I had to be active, taking the food down, walking them, training them, dog sledding with them, super physical. That really was a big part of what got me through, was I was focused on something all the time and always busy. Right. But it was also what caused me to be even more exhausted, because I was living in such an adrenaline state of in fear that I wasn't sleeping or anything, plus the added factor of being super physically active. But every day I would go down, and when I'd feed the dogs, I'd go around and give them their morning snuggles. And I would be thankful it was me there and not somebody else, because I knew I was going to make it through. I knew I had the strength to get through this, and maybe somebody else wouldn't. And I don't know where that came from, but I would tell myself that every day to each dog as I walked around. And a big part of leaving at that time was, one, I knew that there was something that would keep him there. Right. When I moved, I had been hiding $300 for quite some time. And I took that, bought this tent, and had enough money to drive myself like 800 kilometers away. Right. Like from the interior of right by the Alberta border all the way to the coast, so that I had this big distance between me and him. And I knew that he had these things, the dog, the business, this home, all of these things that were going to keep him there. So there was that kind of mental strategy within it. But also just before I left, a week before I left, I had work on the coast for my photography business. So I was away for a week, living in our work van for the week, doing photography on my own, not sleeping. And I ended up going to a pub and sat down at the bar there, and a hockey puck slid across the bar and landed in front of me with this name on it. And the gentleman to my left, they're like, oh yeah, if that guy scores, you'll get a free pint, but you probably won't, because he's already scored 2 goals. And I look over, and it's these 2 gentlemen are sitting there. It's a guy and his nephew. And we strike up a conversation. Turns out that when I had lived in that community, his best friend was my boss. Like, all these connections, our last name is the same. Yeah. And he was this stranger that him and his nephew took me in for that week. They invited me out for dinners with their friends. they took me in, let me stay on their couch if I wanted, and treated me like family. And there wasn't any judgment. They didn't know my partner at the time. They didn't know what I was going through. They didn't know me at all. And when I headed back after that trip, I was close to home to that partner, and I picked up my phone completely terrified to look at it. And the first number that came up was the strangers, and I called him, and basically without saying anything, he understood what I was going through. And he arranged within that community, like 800 kilometers away, he arranged for help if I needed, somewhere for me to stay if I needed. Every time I called, he answered. And he's like a high up businessman who's busy. He would always take the time to answer, make sure I was okay. And it was that being seen by somebody and being talked to, that I had felt so hidden for so long. That it really, that gave me that strength to know that I could get out of this. And I had people there that didn't know him, that weren't going to judge me, weren't going to say I was a liar. Like I had tried to reach out to people before for help, showed like whether it was bruises or told them like in great detail what had happened, and them telling me I was a liar because they knew the person and couldn't believe that person would do those things.
But people don't know what happens behind closed doors.
It's so easy to wear a mask. Like for 5.5 years, nobody knew that I was going through those things. Right. That's it. We all have our inner demons. We all have our things that are going on that we only let people see what we want people to see. And that's the truth for every single person.
It's very few people that I know for myself. I speak for myself. There's very few people that know the real me without me trying to, people please or this or that or the other thing. Very few people see the real person. And especially when you're hurting and when you're in pain and you're in that much stress, right? It's boom, up goes the mask, and you're going to, in my head at least, I think to myself, okay, I'm just going to deal with this. I'm going to deal with whatever's going on, and nobody's going to know what's happening until it's over, right?
Yeah.
And then you can say, okay, I kind of went through this, right? That's how I do it, which is completely wrong.
I think most of us do that though.
It's what we do, right?
Yeah. Like there's that shame and embarrassment of having emotions, no matter what they are. We all question it, whether we're supposed to be happy at that moment or smile because maybe you're sitting at a restaurant and nobody else is. Like, should I be wrong in being happy right now? Like, we question everything. We're so fearful of judgment that we live in secrecy all the time. And the sad part is the best part for me, but the sad part in reality is that we don't live this like genuine, real lives. So we don't allow ourselves to have genuine and real connections because of it. And because of what I went through for those 5.5 years of hiding everything, and growing up not that way, not that we shared a lot of emotion or feelings growing up. There was no judgment towards if we did within our family. And there was never any judgment towards anybody else, ever, no matter what, whether it's like race, emotions, whatever they're going through. I was taught that there was never judgment in our family. So after going through all of this relationship and everything in my life, feeling like it was a complete secret the whole time, it's made me this very open and honest person. Like any question that I'm asked, that you're going to get the wholehearted truth. You might not get the full detail because that doesn't necessarily need to be given. Like, I'm not going to just spill out what was done to me in the abuse sense, because that doesn't change the story. It doesn't make it better. It doesn't help anyone. That's for me to know, like, it could cause other people to be in pain from hearing those things. But that's not me being disgenuine or us being just disgenuine. It's just that you share what you need to share in that kind of context, and be as honest and open as you can.
Absolutely, 100%, because the reality, you're absolutely right. The context of the abuse, I don't want to say it doesn't matter because that's not the right wording, but it's not relevant to where you are now in terms of where you want to go to help people and to give them what they need to get them help and get them better. So I agree with you in that sense that you don't need to go into the nitty-gritty details. People don't need to know that stuff. And, you just have to do, this is the story, this is how we go forward, this is what we can do. So camping in the woods alone by yourself. Oh my goodness. That is amazing. First of all, like I wouldn't even know where to begin. I'm a city girl. Like I don't camp. Like I don't even know if I would know how to get the right stuff. Like that's amazing that you spent all that time in the forest with you and one of the dogs. Mentally, that must have been tough being by yourself.
That was like the easiest part.
Wow.
Yeah, because I had the control. The biggest thing for me in that sense, and in expeditions I've done since then and life is I didn't have control at all at all. Like in my emotions, in my body, I was sick all the time because I was so stressed and fearful. Yeah. And then my whole life was controlled by another. My movements, who I could be friends with, who I could talk to, everything. And so being in the tent, I didn't get a job right away because I knew I mentally wasn't going to be capable of it. So I did some photography photo shoots every once in a while so that you have to have income coming. You have to pay for Jeep. Like I had my Jeep, like all these things, right? Food. The best part about the tent was, for one, I was in nature. So there's no judgment in nature. I could go out of the tent and be naked if I wanted. I could go, my dog always loved me. She was always there whenever I'd get back from going into town. She was always there to greet me so excitedly and happy. There wasn't pressure from anyone. It was, I had ultimate control of all of it. That's why I say that the tent was the best place for me to find healing. It was natural. I was going back to the way we're supposed to live, where we're supposed to be instinctual, and go to sleep when the sun goes down, wake up when the sun rises, be out in fresh air, be curious and explore. And I would go just hike every trail all over with my dog. We'd see wildlife. Like I'd be woken up by a bear outside the tent, all of these things. And it was back to those roots. And I grew up in Winnipeg, and then half the year in Northwestern Ontario on a small island, their family cabin. So I grew up in nature. I was free to go and explore since I was a baby by myself, like connecting with all of the different creatures, catching turtles, sleeping under the stars, whatever it may be. So for me, that was a very safe place. The city is not for me. The city is where I find fear because it's overwhelming. Every emotion is firing, and you can't discern one thing from the other. Everything blends together. Everything seems out of control. And to be out in nature, everything was calm, and I could go at the pace of nature, go and cleanse in the river, and and go and work out these things that I needed to do just for me.
And that's amazing. I commend you for that, because like I said, I don't see, for me, being that alone makes me afraid. Isn't that weird? Because I get out there and I'm like, because I'm a nurse, right? So when I'm in the hospital, it's almost like a checklist of, if this goes wrong, A, B, and C, this is what we do to make this better. If this goes wrong, so you always have an algorithm that tells you how to get out of situations, right? So when I'm up north, and because we go up north and stuff too, but when I'm up there, I always, in the back of my mind, have a plan B. I've got an algorithm in my head. Do we have the EpiPens? Do we have Benadryl? Do we have this? How far away from the hospital are we? How long, if I call, is the ambulance going to be to get there? Like, these are all things that run through my head so that when I get there, I'm more stressed. And I just stayed home.
See, but I talk about this a lot when I share about expeditions. It's since going through that, I've traveled all over North America for photography, for pushing my paddling. I reconnected to all of my passions, so really pushing my limits. And I learned through being in the tent, through going through that relationship, that I believe that nothing's placed in front of us that we don't have the strength to overcome. It's just believing in ourselves enough to achieve those goals. Whether that means summiting Everest, if your goal is to summit Everest, you have every capability. Whether you are blind, in a wheelchair, you can, if you set your mind to that, you'll figure out a way to do it. That's it. Like blind people have paddled the Grand Canyon, the Colorado River. This thing that when I did it, it was this world first doing this tandem sea kayak.
Did we lose Jillian? We might have. Let's see. Hopefully we didn't. I don't know if she can. She's frozen on my end. So if you're watching, just let me know if Jillian's frozen on your end too. Just so that I can see. Hopefully she'll come back. Let's see. If you're watching, just let me know in the comments if Jillian is frozen on your end, or if I'm frozen, or let's see. Can you let me know in the comments if you're there? In the comments. Yeah, it looks like Jillian's frozen on our end. So hopefully Jillian will come back, because we were just getting into it. We were just getting into the nitty-gritty. So let's see. I know her internet's a bit wonky because she's, out in the forest out there. So let's see if we can get her back and get her back on here. Let's see. I'm just messaging her. What a great topic. This is such a great story, and it's such a great topic. She's frozen. Thank you, Sandra. I'm going to try and get her back. I'm going to see. I'm just sending her a message. But what a great topic, and I hope we do get her back, because I really want you guys to hear about Camp Your Way, because it's such a great camp, and what they're doing for survivors of PTSD or thrivers of PTSD is something that I think would be so helpful to everyone. Hopefully her internet changes. We'll give it a few minutes and we'll see if she's able to come back. So PTSD is post-traumatic stress disorder. And basically it manifests itself in many, many different ways, from symptoms of anxiety, stress, fear, being immobilized, depression, eating disorders, sleep disorders. There's so many different symptoms of PTSD. And so the idea is that when something, you don't necessarily need to be in military. You don't necessarily been to have someone go to war, is what I'm trying to spit out. PTSD can affect us in healthcare. I'm going to speak for myself and my healthcare providers. It is something that is affecting us currently. With the stress of the pandemic, and we've been doing this for a year, especially my ICU colleagues, we've been doing this for a year. And I think we might have Jillian back. Let's see. I'll keep going till we see her. Especially my ICU counterparts who are going through so much stress. They're seeing so many people pass away, and they have for the last year. It's the most amount of death we've seen in our careers. And so that's affecting us on a real deep level. And so I know that a lot of nurses are leaving the ICUs because of it. And you can't blame them. But we have to start looking after our own health and our own mental health in order to go forward with our careers and with our lives, because it doesn't just affect work, it affects your whole entire being. It affects everything that you do. And so this is why I think this topic and this talk is so important, because we need to give people hope that there are ways to get through, and also to understand that you're not alone. If you're going through a traumatic situation, you're not alone. We're here for you to give you the information on how you can go forward and how you can help and get back to a place where you can become a PTSD survivor or thriver, whatever works for you. Let's do that. So I'm just seeing she's cycling. The little thing is going around. So I'm hoping that we can get her back soon. So if you are someone who suffers from anxiety, depression, sleep disorders, I would encourage you to go to your family doctor and get assessed for PTSD, whether it's coming out of a bad relationship, work, whether it's an event that's happened in your life that was very traumatic. Anything that was traumatic in your life can lead to PTSD, because it's about being traumatized. I think it was only really recognized in the military because of what they see and what they deal with on a sometimes a daily basis as well, for long periods of time. So if you feel like any of this resonates with you, I encourage you, go to your family doctor and get assessed, and try and go and get the help that you need. You're not alone. You can do it. And we just want to try and provide you with some help. So I'm just I'm looking down to see if she's still cycling. So because I really want you guys to hear about Camp My Way, because it's a really great, I'm going to send her another message. Do you guys have any questions at all? Let me know in the comments if you have any questions about, you can also go to the Canadian Mental Health Association. That's another good one for information and resources on PTSD. CAMH downtown in Toronto, if you're in the GTA, Toronto GTA area, CAMH also has services there that are available to people. You can give them a call as well. And I'll put that in the comments afterwards. And all right, so let's see. Yeah, and so yeah, if you're feeling like you're struggling, if your kids, they always have the kids help phone as well. So if you feel like you're struggling, or if you're having suicidal thoughts, you can always call the kids helpline, and there's somebody directly on the other end that can chat with you and help you get through what it is that you're going through. So I think she's having trouble with her internet. She's going back out and going to try and come back in. So just hang tight. Lord love the internet, especially when you're in BC and you're like completely in the forest. I don't think the internet's very good in the forest, but that's okay. We'll just see how it goes. And I hope you guys are having a great Sunday. I hope you really are enjoying today. It's a beautiful day here in Newmarket. And let me just see if she's coming back. Coming back, coming back, coming back. Come on, Jillian. But if you want to know more information about Camp My Way, it's www.campmyway.com, I believe. So if you want to look for information there, go on Google there, and you can just go do Camp My Way. And yeah, it's .com. I just wanted to double check that it was .com. campmyway.com. And yeah, you can just Google it. They're on Facebook too, I believe. So if you want to try that, then you can find them on Facebook as well. And I'm just waiting a couple of more minutes. We may have to reconnect. I don't know. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Well, I'm going to have to say that she's probably having trouble coming back into the feed. So I just keep looking down, so see if she can come on. We'll give it another minute or two. If anybody has any questions, just pop them in the comments. Today we are talking about PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, and signs and symptoms. That's my oven. I'm making lunch. I'm making soup. So we're talking about post-traumatic stress disorder and signs and symptoms. We've talked about Jillian's story coming from an abusive relationship, leaving that abusive relationship in order to find herself and figure out what it was that was going on with all those different emotions that she had going on, all the different lack of sleep, physical, mental, all the different things that were going on with her. And she went to the forest to find herself with one of her dogs from her dog sledding company and trying to figure out how to get help for PTSD. And so she's created, she is the CEO of Camp My Way. And so that is a retreat for people with PTSD. It is specific for them. I think we might have her again. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. I still see black. Let her know I still see black. She's trying, guys. She's trying. Let's see. Let's see. It's cycling. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. So, yes, so Camp My Way is a camp specifically for PTSD survivors and thrivers. And it puts you through different exercises and different things to help you break that barrier within you, to push yourself to a limit that you didn't think was possible, and to give you tools and tips and tricks to help you live your best life going forward. So that is kind of in a nutshell of, and obviously Jillian, when we get her back, will explain it a lot better about exactly what Camp My Way is. And it's out in BC, so it's not in Ontario, it is out in BC. And I believe there is an application process that they have to go through and in order to get into the program. And so we'll see. She's still cycling. The dreaded wheel. So hopefully, if not, then we'll try and get Jillian back and get her to come another time so that we can interview her again and go through the process of how she founded Camp My Way. I mean, wow, like that's just huge. I know we were just starting to get into it with her talking about connecting with nature and being part of that experience. But I really want to know how to get into that, how she got into that, and also how you can also go into that. Okay, she says she has full internet. Let's see. I'm just seeing what she's saying. She can't hear or see me. Okay. Oh, she's gone again. Okay, let me try. So what we're going to do is I'm going to come out and come back in. Maybe that's the issue. I don't know. Maybe StreamYard's being funny. I'm not sure. But I'm going to end this broadcast and we're going to try and come back on again and bring Jillian back. So hang tight, wait for us to go live, and we'll try it again. Okay, guys? I'll see you in a minute.